Alrighty. Tons of stuff to investigate in here. Fresh looking blood stain on the carpet. There's a dumbbell on the floor, and there's blood on it. There's blood on the dumbbell. The Monokuma file says her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head, which would make this the murder weapon. That's the only reasonable conclusion. The blood spatter on the poster must have happened when the killer attacked. The phrase, bloodbath fever, is written on the wall. What the heck does bloodbath fever even mean? All the life has drained from her body. All that's left is her corpse. The more I look at it, the more bizarre it seems. This is Genocide or Shuei's work. But we haven't concluded that Genocide or Shuei is responsible. Is that what you're trying to say? I wouldn't be so sure about that. I can hardly believe Fujisaki was murdered in this very changing room. I was here just yesterday. I too wonder why she was killed in a changing room of all places. Actually, no. It's also possible she was killed somewhere else and brought here after the fact. Indeed, she is rather light. It would not be difficult to move her body after killing her. However, I believe she brought herself here on her own 2 feet. What makes you think that? These past few days, she frequently spoke of wanting to strengthen her body. So you think Fujisaki came here to work out? But the Monokuma file says she was killed at approximately 2 a.m. Would she really be working out that late? She was likely trying to avoid running into Hina here, or myself. We often work out here during the day. She was avoiding you? Both Hina and I invited her to work out with us on numerous occasions, but she always refused. I can only assume she was avoiding us. So she came here to work out by herself in the middle of the night? I find it hard to believe she was alone. She wanted to start working out, but she said she was unable to do so by herself. She said she wanted someone to assist her. So you're saying Fujisaki came here to the changing room to work out in secret in the middle of the night, and she didn't come alone? It is a possibility. That kid had one hell of a complex about being weak. You heard, didn't you? Always saying, I've got to get stronger. I do remember her saying that. Kid was trying to build some muscle, get stronger, and then this. Though, was there really any need for her to get stronger in the first place? You said it yourself, there's nothing wrong with girls being weak. Beats me. I don't know everything that was going on through that kid's head. I'm kind of curious, where the source of her complex lies? Alright, let's get moving. Huh? Already? We're not going to learn anything by staying put. We need to examine this case from many different angles. I get that, but if you understand, then start moving. He's more than a little pushy, huh? It's like he thinks he has me on a leash. I mean, he is, kind of leading him around. So. Alright, we'll investigate here next. Huh? Does this room have anything to do with the murder? Use your head. Where's the fun in relying on others for everything? Alright. Something in here? Nope. Oh, well, got a coin. As I recall, you need your ID to open up the door. Is there something you're not sure about? Then why don't you ask Monokuma directly? As soon as the words left his mouth, Tagami clapped his hands twice. How may I be of service? Has Tagami tamed Monokuma? It seems he has a question for you. Sure, what's up? About those card readers. The card readers only respond to your guys' Electro IDs. But watch out, you can only enter the changing room that corresponds with the Electro ID owner's gender. You also said it was impossible for 2 people to enter together, did you not? Any sexual terrorists attempting to do so will find themselves far more orifices than they can fill, courtesy of Mr. Gallagher up there. It's also against the rules to lend your Electro ID to someone, isn't it? Ja-ui-si. that's the case, then only girls can enter the women's changing room, and only only men can enter the men's. Which is to say, since we found Fujisaki's body in the women's changing room, oy vey, I can see right through you. You can see through me? Is that what you were thinking? That isn't what you were thinking, is it? Since the corpse was discovered in the women's changing room, the culprit had to have gone inside. In other words, one of the girls killed her. But you're just reaching for the low-hanging fruit. Is that wrong? Take a good close look at the school rules. This is what they say. You are forbidden from lending your Electro ID to anybody. The rules prohibit the act of lending, but not borrowing. Yeah, I expect no less from a child of the Takami group. You found a loophole in the rule. This is you we're talking about. I'm sure you left the loophole on purpose to make things more interesting. Oh, you didn't even break a sweat. You're kicking all sorts of ass today. Here's a freebie. Not only can the dead not defend themselves, they don't even count as people. If you catch my drift. Hold on. You said there was a loophole? But doesn't borrowing someone's Electro ID also count as lending it to you? Yawn. You're making me sleepy. Take a cue from Takami over there and put a little punch into your words. As punishment, I'm giving you the cold shoulder. Q&A is over. Think for yourself. I suppose I have no choice. My slightly disappointing partner in crime, I'll explain in his stead. Come on, we're going to the entrance hall. The entrance hall? You'll see when we get there. Well, here we are. What is it you wanted me to see here? I guess I'm on my own. It's gotta be this thing. Are these Electro IDs? Not just one, but 3. Why here of all places? Sounds like you found them. What? You knew these were here? I just recently happened upon them myself. It seems Electro IDs are returned to this letterbox when the owner dies. So you're saying these Electro IDs belong to Inoshima, Kuwata, and Miyazano? You have eyes. Use them. I grabbed one of the Electro IDs and tried turning it on. You were right. Now do you understand what we meant when we were talking about the loophole in the rule? Yeah, I think so. So this is what he was talking about. Huh? What happened? Is something wrong? That's strange. One of these Electro IDs won't boot up. You mean it's broken? Whose is it? The other Electro ID says it belongs to Junko Inoshima. So that means the broken one is Kuwata's? In that case, I'm not surprised. With how many baseballs it had slammed into it? Slammed with baseballs? The memory of that moment came rushing back. Of the horrid execution that took his life. Of that tasteless production the puppet master made. Of the end of a human's life. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either if it broke after all that. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's your problem? Your Electro ID is a key item integral to your life here in the Academy, so don't go thinking smacking it around with a few balls or anything is going to break it. But it actually, I said it won't, so it won't. It can easily withstand having a 10-foot anvil dropped on it, and 100 meters below sea level is king. Doesn't matter how many baseballs you throw at it, it's not going to break. No way, Jose. However, even the almighty Electro ID has one weakness. Weakness? That's classified. Can't have you going around breaking yours because I blurted it out. So, Kuwata unwittingly stumbled upon this weakness and broke his Electro ID? Who knows? If you ask me, I don't think his ID is broken. Who knows, though? And then Monokuma disappeared, leaving us to ponder the meaning of his extremely suggestive commentary. What was that all about? Monokuma says Kuwata's Electro ID isn't broken, but we have it right here and it won't start up. It's not all that important. At the very least, it doesn't have anything to do with the murder. Is it really irrelevant? Something tells me that might not be the case. Well, that should do it for the preliminary work. I'd say it's time we start doing some real investigation, ripping the mask off this psychopath. You mean whoever killed Fujisaki? Not exactly. What? Not exactly. Well, yes, I do want to find the culprit. To be more precise, what I really want to do is uncover Genocider Shuei's true identity. So you really think Genocider Shuei killed Fujisaki? Of course I do. There's no doubt in my mind the culprit is Genocider Shuei. Genocider Shuei is that homicidal maniac, right? Who else would it be? He's a villainously brutal and demented serial killer. He chooses his victims at random and without warning. The police can't even find a pattern. The internet has dubbed the suspect of these serial murder cases Genocider Shuei. The idea that his victims number in the thousands is obviously just an urban legend, but still, you're saying that one of us is that psychopathic serial killer? Precisely. But that's insane. I have undeniable proof and I'm going to show that to you. Wait, we're not done here. What? I guess this one. The culprit hid the murder weapon inside the TV, except we've already found the murder weapon. What? What did that happen? I've already looked here, right? I guess I talked to him again. Oh, right, because that makes sense. I can say with certainty that Genocider Shuei is somewhere within this building. With certainty? Really? When we're done here, I'm going to take you somewhere to show you proof that it was Genocider Shuei who killed Fujisaki. Proof? Does he actually have proof? Hey, guys. There's trouble. Help. We're busy. Get out of here. It's an emergency. Please, help. What emergency? Fukawa's in trouble. She's acting funny. Actually, she's been acting funny. What do you want to do, Tagami? I'm a little concerned about her. Let's go see how she's doing. Are you sure? Don't make me repeat myself. I have to say, I didn't expect that. I totally thought he'd blow her off. Come on, hurry, hurry. Looks like she's heading to the dorms. Probably her bedroom. Got it. Too fast. So what's the problem? After what happened in the changing room, me and Ishimura brought Fukawa to her room to rest. A little while later, I thought I'd check up on her, but she was acting kind of strange. She absolutely refused to leave her room, and she's mumbling all sorts of weird things. What do you mean weird? Why don't you try talking to her yourself? Alright. Ding dong. The door slid open without a sound. Whoa! The negative aura that spilled through the crack in the door almost knocked me off my feet. What? Well, Hina was worried about you because you've locked yourself in here. Leave me alone. Would you at least open the door for me? I won't let her run free. Huh? I will not let Genocider Shuei run free. She slammed the door in my face. What? She was like that when I came by earlier, too. I'll banish that accursed homicidal maniac. I have no idea what she's going on about, but I was scared to just leave her like that, so I tried forcing the door open, but it looks like she's barricaded the door and I couldn't get it open any further. Fukawa's so frightened she's barricaded herself in her room? Does she have the same idea as Tagami? That it was the serial killer genocider Shue who murdered Fujisaki? Is that why she's so scared? I'm really worried about her. I wonder if there's anyone who can talk her out of there. Hey, Togami, would you mind giving it a shot? See if maybe you can convince her to leave her room? I suppose. Huh? You'll try talking to her, Togami? I'm surprised you can actually be nice sometimes. Without a word, Togami approached the door and placed his finger on the intercom. A few moments later... Leave me alone, for God's sake. Togami. It's Togami. I'm so sorry. I couldn't keep our promise. But you don't need to worry. I won't let her run free. I won't let Genocider Shue run free anymore. And then she closed the door. Even Togami couldn't do it. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's get back to the investigation. Hold on a second. What did her mean by our promise? Promise? Hell if I know. Probably just another one of her delusions. But I said I don't know. Let Hina deal with Fukuwa. Yeah, okay, I'll stay here and keep an eye on her. Let's go. Without even waiting for a response, Togami started walking away. I frantically pursued him. No matter how many times I tried calling to him along the way, he didn't so much as look back at me, let alone respond. He simply marched forward, not stopping until he reached his destination. The library? What are you waiting for? Go inside. I don't know, is the game pushing the direction of, like, Fukuwa is bipolar or whatever? I guess that would make sense, right? I don't know. There's nothing there. That's not what I'm wanting to press. Oh. Every single time. You'll see. So, they let us into the archives this time. Alright. Holy, that's a lot of documents, and this place takes Dusty to a whole new level. I believe you'll find there's enough valuable information in this room to warrant putting up with the dust. The shelf is full of notebooks and folders. I wonder what's in them. Those files are dangerous. Dangerous? That shelf contains detailed data on the people who run the world. It's info civilians should never know. You mean like about members of the Diet? I mean the people controlling them, the true ruling class. If you don't mind being erased, go ahead, take a look. You'll find a lot of surprising names in there. You're joking, right? Care to find out? Just to be safe, I'll abstain. That's a copy of a case file from a certain country's national archives concerning the assassination of one of their presidents. They're planning at long last to unveil it 30 years from now. Just don't come running to me when you become a target for learning that information early. It's an empty wooden box. From the markings in the dust, I guess there's something that used to be here. Do you know what used to be in this box? There was an extension cord in there. I brought it to the library. An extension cord. Hey, I recognize this desk lamp. It's just like the one Togami was using in the other room. It's a lamp, one of it. There was another one of these here that I brought into the library proper. The lighting is dismal in there, so it's necessary to read. Huh? Coin. Oh, it's just the camera. Allow me to give you a word of warning before you decide whether or not to look at these. Hundreds, if not thousands, of case files, crime scene photos and all, including some that a normal person wouldn't be able to handle seeing. Just a warning. What do you mean unable to handle? Every single one of these are cold case files. Internal confidential police documents that would under normal circumstances never see the light of day. So have you come to appreciate how extraordinary these archives are? The room is the reason I was so interested in the library. Confidential police and government documents, things that would never be available publicly, fill the room. It's glorious. You weren't joking. You have this terrible habit of deciding things must be false if they don't fit your view of reality. I have no idea how you could even expect me to believe that all of this is real. And anyway, who could have collected all this, and how could they have done it? Either Hope Academy is just that influential, or the Puppet Master just didn't want me to get bored. I can't do it. I can't keep up with him. He's just too outrageous. What? Do you still not believe me? I'd like to know how you can. Any normal person couldn't. What is normal? Normal, average, simple? They do not exist. If you can't comprehend that, you can't possibly understand the fundamental precepts of this world. My ears started to hurt. You're also basing your comment on what you consider common sense. Don't apply your pedestrian common sense to someone in my position. The documents here are, without question, legitimate. Having seen them before, I can attest to that. These are all highly classified documents, aren't they? Then why? My house has a reading room in it, much like these archives, though it's not really as small and dusty. What? Members of the Togami family have full unrestricted access to government data, and not just domestically either. What? Why? How? Do you remember what I said earlier about the true ruling class? The Togami family is part of that. Noble blood flows through my veins, blood that will one day have me sitting atop the world. As one of those relatives, it's necessary for me, too, to have a vast wealth of knowledge about the world, so whenever I had the time, I would read whatever documents or records interested me, and that is why I can say without absolute certainty that the files here are unquestionably real. This is no longer a question of whether or not I believe. I'm starting to think Togami is infinitely more terrifying than the Puppet Master. These things that interest me the most were police case files for unsolved crimes. Ever since I was young, one of my hobbies has been looking at unsolved case files. It was a great way to work my mind. Oh, excuse me. And I solved more than a few cases while I was at it. Lately, there's been one case I had a particular fascination with, the genocider Shuei serial killings. As he spoke, Togami pulled a single file from one of the shelves. This is that file. Every report filed on the genocider Shuei case is right here. Because there's so much of it, I'll give you a summary of the most important information. To start off, there are two unique characteristics to the genocider Shuei murders. First, genocider Shuei always writes bloodbath fever in the victim's blood somewhere at the crime scene. And second, genocider Shuei's victims are all crucified. The phrase bloodbath fever in the victim's blood in the crucifixion, that's just like what happened to Fujisaki. Hold on to your surprise, the interesting part has yet to come. The second characteristic, that he crucifies his victims, is only known to those at the very highest levels of law enforcement. The media hasn't been given that information. What? What I'm saying is, his bloody calling card is public knowledge to anyone, and anyone can find out about it, but only the upper echelon of the police and genocider Shuei himself know about the crucifixions. Now, back to Fujisaki's body. She was, as I recall, propped up as if she had been crucified. So the question becomes, how did the killer know that particular detail of genocider Shuei's MO? And that's where the problem lies. But there's an easy answer. The culprit was not a copycat, but genocider Shuei himself. This is my proof that someone here is actually genocider Shuei. Then it's true? Someone here is a demented serial killer? Wow, this case has gotten rather interesting, hasn't it? Who would have expected we had an infamous homicidal maniac participating in this game? I suggest you look over this file yourself. I'm sure you'll find plenty of useful information in it. If you come begging and crying, I'll consider showing it to you. Hey, Togami, do you mind if I take a look at that? The genocider Shuei case file? You were neither begging nor crying, but I suppose I can let you off easy. You can look at it as much as you want here, but you cannot take it out of this room. With my nerves on high alert, I took the file from Togami and began flipping through it. My hand stopped when it came to a page containing a series of crime scene photos. Names and pictures of genocider Shuei's victims filled page after page. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names. And on they went. At the very least, I have learned that every single one of his numerous victims are killed and crucified in exactly the same manner. In addition, he always leaves the message bloodbath fever in his victim's blood at the scene. Take a look at the next page. I'm sure you'll find what's written there very interesting. I don't know why I can't quit yelling. The next page. Suspect profile? Murders either occur late night or on weekdays or during the afternoon or evening on weekdays. They most frequently occur in the early afternoon on weekends. Based on the above information, we believe the suspect is, with a high degree of probability, a student. Additionally, we have evidence showing the suspect remains at a scene for an extended period of time, and then flees from the scene in a panic, as there has been no reported sightings of the suspect. It appears he exhibits his peculiar behavior, irrespective of any external influences. Based on this apparently illogical, inconsistent behavior, we realize the suspect has a severe case of dissociative identity disorder. In short, they're saying it's possible genocider Shuei is someone who has multiple personalities. Multiple personalities? Like the sort of thing you see on the TV? And once again, things have started losing touch with reality. But everything else I've heard leading up to this has been so far, far more unbelievable. Does this fact that this doesn't seem quite so strange mean I'm becoming desensitized to absurdity? Alright then, let's get going. Huh? Get going? Where? Out of here. We don't have any more business here. Hey, hold on a second. And yet again, I found myself chasing after Togami as he walked off without me. Okay, well, I'm done with you now. I have other business to attend to before the class trial. Huh? Already? Boy, Vey, you thought we'd be together forever? Spare me the imposing misunderstandings, would you? The rest of the investigation is on your shoulders. See you at the trial. And with that, he disappeared from my sight. He recruited me out of the blue, and then he fired me just as suddenly. Part of me feels like I got dragged around by the collar. And there's no denying, thanks to him, I gained a lot of valuable information. Genocider Shuei, the villainous serial murderer responsible for Fujisaki's death, is apparently one of us. Somehow I've got to figure out who that is, and to do that, there are a few places I need to go. First is the scene of the crime, the women's changing room. I should also check out the men's changing room. Next, some of the others might have information I don't, so I should start talking to them too.